Well, one of my cronies showed up and he wanted to tear this 528 down. This is the 528 crate motor that we were supposed to be changing the cam and the rocker arms on. But instead, we get the heads off, we find out the pistons are 12.5, so now this is a total tear down to the bare block, the whole deal. This is, I was going to get this done right quick before the 426 crate motor got here, but no, that's not how it's going to work. It's going to be a total job. One thing I didn't really tell the owner, the previous owner must have been using a motor plate. He had this in a Roadrunner drag car, but this oil pump's not going to work because he's going to be using motor mounts. I mean, we can't use the pump because it's got an external line oil pan, which it needs anyway, but we're going to have to, I think what we ought to do is go to the Mylodon pump with the inlet in the front and then put a stock top on it. I believe Mylodon says you can do that. So anyway, we're going to tear it down. These rods aren't marked to what cylinder they go to.
That needs to be done.
Looks like we've got plenty of side clearance. But never tear down an engine without marking these with an electric scribe first. You don't know how miserable your day is going to be if you get those caps mixed up. It'll be the end of your life. I know numbering these rods with an electric scribe doesn't look as good as the stampings of the old days, but those were real heavy rods and nobody thought that mattered. They don't want you stamping these lightweight rods. They want them scribed. Remember that 426 crate Hemi that we were working on a few weeks ago? How every bearing in it was trash, and it's been run almost none since the rebuild. And now, the bearings in this one, look at that. I mean, I don't know. I guess the best way I would describe that would be new. How could every bearing look perfect and new in this one, and every bearing in the other one is totally trash? You're going to have to give that some thought and tell me what the answer is, because I have absolutely no idea. I don't know what to say about these main bearings other than they pretty much look new. There's almost not a mark on them or anything. One of the problems with running a turned crank in a stroker motor, or any motor with a full radius crank like this, is what are you going to do for bearings? Yes, they make 10 under bearings, but they're not most likely going to make bearings that are +1 and -1 for a 10 under size crank. So the crank looks great, everything's wonderful, it's 10-10 crank, but they ground it 1 under, so that way you can use regular bearings and have the extra clearance like a stroker engine really wants. The rods and the mains are both 1 under, and we know based on that last one, those were the same rod bearings that were in that 426, so we pretty much know those give you 1.5, and by making this 1 under, that puts it to 2.5, and that's mo better, considering you're going to have problems finding bearings otherwise. But everything looks great on it. The bearings look so good, it makes me not even want to measure the main bore. I mean, I'd say put the bearings right back in it. I mean, if everybody's happy in there. So I don't know. That worked out pretty good. From the bottom, those pistons look like they were put in yesterday. They're diamond pistons. They put sealer on these interior plugs. This won't help you. I mean, all that can do is this get in your oil. I mean, why would you seal it? If it drips a drop every 100 miles, I mean, it goes in the oil pan. I mean, don't use sealer on these. And don't tighten them up to where impact can't get them out. Now I realize this is nitpicking. I mean, does it really matter? But look at that distributor drive bushing. It doesn't have the grooves across the top, and it doesn't have the longitudinal groove. I mean, first of all, why would anybody make it? But worse, why would you put it in your engine? I mean, I know it's nitpicking, but come on. This 528 was bored 30 over on the rebuild, and so I've got it set up at 530. We're probably going to have to hone it. Yeah, we're 2.2 on the bottom. We're 1.8. This would be tighter if it was honed with a torque plate, but I'm sure the guy didn't have a torque plate because after what you saw him do with the rocker arms, he obviously wasn't a Mopar guy, or at least wasn't a Hemi guy. So that's okay. I'm going to put it in the hone and make sure that it's going to clean up where we think it's going to clean up. You don't want to go buying pistons, but I'm sure it's going to be okay at 5 over, so it'll be a 4.535 bore. The bearings look so good on this thing, I feel silly checking the main bores. Even if they were wrong, I'd want to leave it the way it is. But we'll see if we can do this right. I have 0 set on the high side of spec, 2.943. Let's see what we got. Few tenths. Oh, that's not, yeah, that's in spec because that's few tenths, 3/10 loose, and we're at the high side of spec. So that's perfect. 3/10, that's perfect. One-tenth high, we're gonna not care about that in any way whatsoever. Dead on 0. And 2/10 under the high spec, so that's perfect. So basically everything is perfect except this one here that's a 1/10 higher than the high spec. No, it's not. Is that the one? That one's showing a 1/10. Well, under a high spec. Well, let's just admit everything's perfect. This one's on 0. This one's on 0. And this one's 2/10 under the high spec. So, the mains are perfect. But we knew that, didn't we? Or at least we thought we knew. I've got the block honed out. I just gave it 25 strokes to kind of clean up the side so you could look at it and make sure that there wasn't some kind of low spot looking scary or something. So today we should be ordering some 5 over pistons and everything should be wonderful. I talked to Diamond Pistons this morning and told them what we wanted to do. I told them we needed 10.5 to 1, and we need 5 over this size. This is being a 30 over already. He said no problem. He wants me to strip this piston down, get it off the rod, double spiral locks, you know that's going to be fun, and take off the rings and clean up the crown where we can get an accurate weight of what this piston weighs. I was hoping that his records would have recorded what this piston weighed, but it didn't, so going to do a little extra work, and then he'll make some pistons, probably be early December when we get them. Early, mid-December, it's not going to be fun. At least we'll have pistons coming. I'm going to try out the ultrasonic cleaner and see if it will do a good job on removing that carbon from the dome. Just make it a little easier for me to scrub off the rest with a Scotch-Brite. Wow, 22 minutes in that V-bore. I mean, I was going to wipe this off with Scotch-Brite, but there's no weight here to wipe off. That's pretty good. You need one of those. So now we can get a weight on this. It's still got the double spiral locks on this side, which is 3.7 grams. But let's see what we got. 841.7. Okay, so let's call that 838. Okay, I'll call Diamond, give them a number, and see what we come up with. Look at that little baby V-bore I got back there for nuts and bolts and smalls. $45 for an ultrasonic, and by the way, it works great. I'm not sponsored. They're not giving me nothing. I'm just telling you, for $45, it's fun. And this is the chemical I'm using, Mean Green Super Strength. I'm pouring it in there straight, and it'll strip paint and everything else off. You might probably have to leave it in there a while for the paint. It would probably work just as good if you cut it in half. Diamond said it's going to be Christmas week before the parts pistons get here for the 528, and it's going to be Thanksgiving before the pistons get here for the 426. So I guess I get to take a little break. I think I figured out what I'm going to tell Just Mopar Joe about these rod bearings. You know, that 426 crate motor we tore down, all the bearings look completely trashed, and then we tear this 528 down and all the bearings are beautiful. So what I'm going to tell Joe is, Joe's one of those guys that thinks you can build 600 horse strokers and use a 3/8 internal pickup. I mean, don't get me started on that, but I think what I'm going to tell Joe is, well, this had a external line, external -12 line feeding the bearings. That's probably why these look so good. And of course, that'll burn Joe up.